All right, we're about to pull back the curtain on a really strange and, frankly, pretty intimidating corner of the legal world. We're talking about the business of copyright trolling. So just imagine for a second. You get a letter in the mail, it accuses you of online piracy, and it's demanding thousands of dollars from you. But here's the weird part. The lawsuit isn't even against you by name. It's against John Doe, just an anonymous person on the internet. And that's supposed to be you. You know, for hundreds of thousands of people, this isn't some made-up scenario. It is a very real, very stressful reality. It's part of a legal strategy that has just exploded in recent years, and it casts this huge net that catches, well, pretty much everyone, guilty or not. And if you want to see just how big this problem is, look at this chart. That spike after 2010, it's just staggering. The federal court system was completely flooded with these anonymous John Doe lawsuits. There's a reason researchers call this the BitTorrent monetization era. To put a number on it, think about this. Between 2014 and 2016, these kinds of cases made up nearly half, 49.8%, of all the copyright lawsuits filed in the entire country. So yeah, this is not some small fringe issue. It's been a dominant force in our courts. So what is actually going on here? How does this even work? Let's break down the playbook for what a lot of experts and critics call copyright trolling. At its core, it's all about making money off of accusations. See, the real goal isn't to go to court and win a trial. No. It's to use the threat of a super expensive legal fight to scare you into paying a settlement. It is a numbers game, plain and simple. And it works whether you actually did something wrong or not. And this is the business model boiled down to a simple 6-step formula. You monitor and collect IP addresses, file a big lawsuit against all of them, get the court to make the internet companies tell you who they are, and then you send out scary letters. And notice what step 6 is. It's not win the case. It's abandon the ones who don't pay and start all over again. The whole thing is built on intimidation, not legal merit. And hey, it's not just critics saying this. I mean, listen to this quote from a U.S. district judge. He's basically saying the courts are not here to be part of what looks like an extortion scheme. So even the judiciary is calling this out. But here's the secret. This is the real kicker that makes this whole thing tick. Behind all the scary legal threats and official-looking documents, the cases themselves are often incredibly weak. I love this metaphor from the source material. A Potemkin village was literally a fake village, just a painted facade, built to impress a visiting ruler. There was nothing behind it. And that's exactly what these lawsuits are like. They look big and intimidating from the outside, but if you look closer, there's just nothing there. And this brings us to the biggest hole in their entire argument. They make this giant leap of faith. Their whole case is based on connecting an IP address to a specific person. But an IP address just identifies a connection, right? Not the actual human being who did something. I mean, seriously, think about it. Who could it have been? A family member? Your roommate? A guest who was over for dinner? Maybe it was your neighbor who's been borrowing your unsecured Wi-Fi for months. An IP address is like a house address. It tells you where something happened, not who did it. Okay, now let's dig into the technical side of things a little bit, because the so-called evidence they use, this might be the weakest link in the entire chain. To get what's going on, let's use an analogy. Think of a movie file like a big jigsaw puzzle, all put together. Now, the BitTorrent system, which is used for all this file sharing, it breaks that big puzzle into thousands of tiny, individual pieces. It just makes it easier to share. Okay, now here is the wild part. The investigators who are collecting this proof, they don't capture the whole movie file. They don't even capture a whole puzzle piece. What they actually get is a microscopic fragment of just one of those thousands and thousands of pieces. In one of the cases that was analyzed for our source material, the data they captured was just 0.02 of 1% of the entire movie. Let me say that again, 0.002%. It's practically nothing. And legally, this is just absurd. A tiny little fragment of data like that isn't considered a copy under copyright law because you can't see anything from it, you can't reproduce anything from it. It's evidence of, well, not much of anything at all. And on top of the flimsy data, you've got to ask, who are the people even collecting it? The source describes this whole shadowy network of German tech companies. It's a bit of a shell game. And get this, the investigators often get paid based on how much evidence they find.
which gives them a huge financial incentive to, well, find a lot of it. So this brings up the big question, right? If these cases are so weak and full of holes, why does this model keep working? And what are we supposed to take away from all of this?
The reason it persists comes down to a really simple and kind of brutal calculation. For a totally innocent person, it can cost way, way more to hire a lawyer and fight this thing than it does to just pay the $2,000 or $3,000 they're asking for to make it all go away. When you're being threatened with $150,000 in damages, that settlement looks like the only sane option.
So at the end of the day, these cases are built on a foundation of sand, but they're still incredibly profitable. And understanding all these weaknesses we just talked about, that's your first line of defense. But it leaves you with a really troubling thought about our legal system, doesn't it? What does it say when being right can be a luxury that most people just can't afford?